When I traveled through China, I noticed something that left me speechless. Cars that were 20 or 30 years old, still driving around as if they were new. They weren't collector's relics or restored models. They were daily use cars with shiny paint, engines that sounded smooth, and interiors cared for down to the last detail. What surprised me most was that nobody bragged about it. How do they do it? While in the West, people change vehicles every few years, in China they make them last for decades. Literally, I had no idea how they managed it. But the Chinese always find incredible ways to achieve things, and they do it with habits that almost nobody applies here. Habits that can double or even triple the lifespan of any vehicle. Today, you're going to learn the 17 secrets that make their engines, transmissions, and bodies almost immortal. These are simple yet powerful practices. Some seem insignificant until you try them and discover that your car starts responding better, consuming less, and aging more slowly. So get ready, because number 9 is a secret known only to the Chinese, and number 2 is a trick that'll make you angry you didn't know it before. That's why you shouldn't miss a single second of this video. Let's begin. Number 17. Daily check of coolant level before starting the car. This is one of the most common habits among Chinese drivers and, curiously, one of the most ignored in the rest of the world. Before starting the engine, many of them visually check the coolant level. It doesn't take even a minute, but that small act prevents thousands of breakdowns. The cooling system is the lifeline of a modern engine. A low coolant level can cause overheating, warp the cylinder head, or even melt the entire engine. In China, drivers understand that a car should not be started without first checking its basic health, just as one wouldn't run a marathon without drinking water. They don't only look at the level, they also check the color and viscosity of the fluid. If the coolant looks cloudy or brown, they replace it immediately. Here in the West, many people wait until the car starts boiling or smelling burnt before reacting. Not them. Their philosophy is simple: prevent before paying. Number 16. Monthly pressure wash of the underbody to prevent rust. Rust is the silent enemy of any vehicle. You don't notice it until it has already eaten the metal from the inside. In humid regions or on roads where salt is used during winter, deterioration accelerates. That's why Chinese drivers wash the underbody once a month, especially after driving in the rain or on dirty roads. It's not just a superficial wash. They use pressurized water or go to stations with rotating machines that clean the underside specifically. The goal is to remove mud, salt, and chemical residues that corrode the chassis, suspension arms, and brake lines. Some even apply a thin coat of light oil or metal wax afterward, creating a moisture barrier. In the West, this practice is considered unnecessary or only for new cars. But in China, they do it even with vehicles 20 years old. The result: clean chassis, bolts that never rust, exhausts without corrosion, and solid structures that pass any technical inspection. In fact, many Chinese workshops offer anti-corrosion packages, including this deep cleaning, and it has become part of monthly maintenance. While others spend thousands on welding or repainting, they invest just a few yuan in prevention. With little investment, they achieve a lot. Number 15. Keeping the car covered even inside the garage. Humidity control. This habit sums up the Chinese mindset toward maintenance. The car rests, but it also needs active protection. Many drivers cover their vehicle even when it's parked indoors. At first glance, it seems exaggerated, but it has a very logical explanation. Covers don't just protect from dust or scratches. They help maintain constant temperature and humidity. In regions where the climate varies a lot between day and night, the car's metal breathes, expanding and contracting. That microcondensation generates humidity in internal corners, bolts, seat rails, electrical connectors, and engine parts. By covering the vehicle with a breathable cover, they prevent that condensation and extend the life of the metal components. Even the paint stays brighter, and the interior keeps its color for longer. In Chinese cities where space is limited, some owners even use fitted covers with airtight closures and side ventilation. In workshops, this habit is considered a sign of respect. Whoever covers their car shows they value what they own. Meanwhile, in the West, many consider it unnecessary. But if you compare a car that's been covered for 10 years with one that never was, the difference is huge. Paint without wear, intact interiors, and a new car smell that seems eternal. Number 14. monthly inspection of spark plugs, cables, and coils. In China, preventive maintenance is almost a religion. While in the West, many wait until the car starts failing to open the hood, there the monthly inspection is an unbreakable ritual. One of the most important, checking spark plugs, ignition cables, and coils. It may seem like a minor detail, but this system is the heart of combustion. If one spark plug doesn't fire correctly, the engine burns fuel unevenly, produces residue, contaminates the catalytic converter, and increases fuel consumption. The Chinese know this. That's why they even examine the color of the spark plugs. If they're black, there's excess fuel. If they're white, the mixture is lean. If they're light brown, everything's perfect. They also clean the connectors of the cables and coils, applying dielectric grease to protect them from moisture. Some even use a small copper brush to remove carbon deposits. They don't wait for the 100,000 color recommended in manuals. They act earlier. In the West, many see this as overkill. In China, it's common sense. They say, the car speaks before it gets sick. You just have to listen. Thanks to that philosophy, their engines start smoothly even after decades. The Chinese and their ways. Number 13. Starting the car only after checking the oil level and color. This may sound old-fashioned, but it's one of the wisest habits still alive in China. Every few days, before starting the engine, drivers open the hood, pull out the dipstick, and check the oil, not just to see the level, but also the color and texture. If it's too dark or thick, they don't wait for the scheduled oil change. They replace it immediately. Why? Because they understand that oil is the blood of the engine. If it's dirty, everything else suffers. Clean oil doesn't just lubricate, it also cools, seals, and protects. In the West, many wait until the oil light turns on, which is already a sign that something's wrong. In China, they see that warning light as an emergency, not a reminder. They've learned that an oil change costs little compared to an engine rebuild. That's why they often buy oil and filters in bulk, always having them on hand. Some even keep a small notebook with every oil check recorded, like a health diary for their car. The result? Engines that remain smooth and efficient for 400,000 or even 500,000 kilometers, with no leaks or sludge. It's not luck, it's discipline. Number 12. Driving gently during the first 10 minutes. Engine warm-up by motion. Here in the West, many people start the car and immediately accelerate hard, especially when they're late. In China, that's unthinkable. For them, the first 10 minutes after starting are sacred. They let the car warm up by motion, not by idling. They drive slowly, without pushing the throttle or making sharp turns. The goal is to let all fluids, oil, transmission fluid, and coolant, reach their optimal temperature and pressure gradually. When an engine is cold, oil is thick and takes longer to reach every moving part. If you rev high during that stage, you're causing micro-friction that slowly wears down the metal. Chinese drivers know this and practice gentle start driving. It's not about wasting time idling. It's about letting the car settle into its natural rhythm. That's why their engines sound quieter and last longer. Because they're never tortured when cold. Mechanics there say, a calm morning makes a long-lasting engine. Number 11. Weekly tire inspection and rotation. Every 5,000 kilometer tires are like the shoes of your car. They tell the story of how you drive. In China, drivers don't see them as disposable. They see them as a safety system. That's why every week they check tire pressure, tread depth, and sidewall condition. But that's not all. Every 5,000 kilometers, they rotate the tires. This keeps wear balanced, ensuring smooth handling and longer lifespan. Many do this themselves, using simple jacks at home. Others visit local workshops that specialize only in balancing and rotation. Chinese drivers also store tires properly, in cool, dry places away from sunlight. When changing from summer to winter tires, they clean them and wrap them in plastic to prevent cracking. This culture of tire care means their sets often last twice as long as ours. Plus, they spend less on fuel, since properly inflated tires reduce rolling resistance. In short, more control, more safety, more savings. Number 10. Avoiding short trips. Minimum 15-minute drives. This habit is pure wisdom. Chinese drivers try to avoid using their cars for very short distances, like just to buy bread or drop off something around the corner. Why? Because short trips are one of the most damaging things for a car. When the engine doesn't reach full operating temperature, condensation builds up in the oil and exhaust system. Fuel remains unburned, forming carbon deposits in the pistons and valves. The catalytic converter also doesn't heat enough to work properly, shortening its life. That's why many Chinese prefer walking or cycling for short errands. They only use the car when it's worth turning on the engine for drives longer than 15 minutes. If they must use it for a short trip, they let it run an extra few minutes after parking, just enough to let the exhaust moisture evaporate. This simple habit keeps their engines cleaner, their exhaust systems free of rust, and their fuel consumption optimized. It's one of those small, invisible things that multiply a car's lifespan. Number 9. Adding a fuel system cleaner every 5,000 kilometers. In China, fuel additives are as common as wiper fluid. Drivers there know that over time, injectors, valves, and combustion chambers build up carbon deposits. These residues cause rough idling, lower power, and higher fuel consumption. That's why every 5,000 kilometers, they pour a bottle of fuel system cleaner directly into the tank before refueling. It's not an expensive ritual. These products cost just a few yuan, but they act like a detox for the engine. The result is cleaner injectors, smoother combustion, and longer-lasting fuel pumps. Chinese mechanics even say that after a couple of treatments, engines breathe again, regaining their lost power. Many Western drivers only use additives when the car already has a problem. In China, it's the opposite. They use them to prevent problems. Some brands even sell multi-stage kits, a liquid for the tank, one for the intake, and another for the oil before draining it. The goal is total internal cleaning. In short, while others pay for injector cleaning at the workshop, the Chinese keep everything clean from day one, saving thousands over time. Number 8. Using silicone. Spray on door seals and plastic trims. This is one of those habits that almost no one in the West knows about. But it works wonders. Chinese drivers regularly apply silicone spray to the rubber seals around doors, windows, and the trunk. Why? Because it keeps the rubber flexible and prevents it from cracking or sticking during heat and cold. It also stops annoying squeaks and wind noise. In cold regions, silicone spray prevents doors from freezing shut in winter. And when applied to interior plastics, it creates a thin, UV-protective layer that keeps everything looking new. They don't use greasy or shiny products, just a soft, matte silicone. This protects without making things slippery or attracting dust. Some even spray it on wiper blades to keep them elastic and silent. Small detail, huge result. That's why when you see a 20-year-old car in China, its doors still close with that satisfying thunk, the seals are intact, and there are no vibrations or interior rattles. Maintenance isn't magic, it's patience. Number 7. Cleaning the air filter every month. Not waiting to replace it in dusty or polluted areas. Many Chinese drivers clean the air filter every single month. Not change, clean. They remove it, shake it gently, and blow compressed air from the inside out. This removes most dust and extends the life of the filter. Of course, they still replace it when needed, but usually it lasts twice as long as it would otherwise. A clean air filter means better airflow, more efficient combustion, and lower fuel consumption. Mechanics there even say, a dirty air filter is like trying to breathe through a pillow. In regions with high smog, drivers also add a small mesh screen at the air intake. It catches large debris like leaves and insects. It's such a simple thing, yet it has a massive impact. While many drivers here forget about the filter entirely, the Chinese treat it like the lungs of their car. Number 6. Avoiding full throttle acceleration. Using progressive power. This is one of the biggest secrets behind their long-lasting engines. Chinese drivers rarely floor it. They accelerate progressively, never forcing the engine beyond what's necessary. Sudden acceleration puts intense strain on the pistons, connecting rods and crankshaft. Especially when the oil hasn't reached full pressure, it also burns more fuel and increases wear on the clutch and transmission. Instead, they build up speed gradually, keeping RPMs moderate and shifting smoothly. It's not about driving slow. It's about driving intelligently. Even professional drivers in China train with smooth driving techniques, focusing on fluid motion and consistency. The car lasts longer, and fuel efficiency improves dramatically. Their philosophy: Drive the car. Don't fight it. That's why you'll see vehicles there with hundreds of thousands of kilometers, still running like new because they've never been abused. Number 5. Changing brake fluid every month she's works. 20,000 kilometers. In the West, many drivers go years without changing their brake fluid. In China, it's unthinkable. There, it's normal to replace it every 20,000 kilometers or once a year, whichever comes first. Why? Because brake fluid absorbs moisture from the air. Over time, that moisture lowers its boiling point, which can cause brake fade or even total failure when braking hard or downhill. The Chinese know that the braking system is a car's most vital safety component. That's why workshops there often have brake fluid testers. If the moisture content is above 2%, they flush the system immediately. They also use high-quality DOT4 or DOT 5.1 fluids, which are more resistant to temperature changes. The result? Firm brake pedals, consistent stopping power, and calipers that never seize. It's one of those invisible habits that can literally save your life. Number 4. Using the handbrake. Always. Even when parking on a flat surface, Chinese drivers always use the handbrake. It's not laziness, it's training. They know that relying only on P in automatics or leaving the gear engaged in manuals puts constant strain on the transmission. By using the handbrake, they take pressure off the gearbox and keep the parking system in perfect condition. Additionally, using it regularly keeps the cables, levers, and internal mechanisms from seizing. In cold regions, some even apply a bit of anti-rust spray on the cables before winter. In the West, many forget this habit, until one day their handbrake cable gets stuck. In China, it's part of the ritual. Park, neutral, handbrake, ignition off. Always. That's why their parking brakes work smoothly even after 15 years. Number 3. Cleaning the engine bay. Carefully and frequently. This is one of the most impressive habits. In China, it's common to see people cleaning their engine bay as part of regular maintenance. Not with a hose or pressure washer, but with a damp microfiber cloth. Patience and precision. They remove dust, oil mist, and dirt from connectors, plastic covers, and metal parts. This prevents corrosion, keeps hoses soft, and allows them to spot small leaks early. Workshops there even offer engine spa services, where they use safe, low-pressure steam cleaning. Many Western drivers fear cleaning the engine, thinking it might damage electronics, but the Chinese do it smartly. They cover sensitive parts like the alternator, sensors, and battery terminals before cleaning. The result? Engine bays that look brand new even after decades, and components that last much longer because dirt and heat don't accumulate. Number 2. Changing the transmission fluid every 30,000 kilometers. This is the secret that shocks most people in the West. While many follow the lifetime fluid myth, the Chinese simply don't believe it. For them, lifetime means until it fails. That's why they change transmission fluid every 30,000 kilometers, manual or automatic. They know that inside every gearbox, thousands of metal parts move at high speed, creating microshavings that contaminate the oil. If you wait too long, those particles act like sandpaper, wearing out the system. In China, they use special machines that completely flush the old fluid, not just drain a part of it. Then they fill it with the manufacturer's recommended oil and sometimes add a conditioner for smooth shifting. Because of this, their transmissions shift smoothly even after 300,000 kilometers, with no jerks or slipping. It's not a luxury, it's logic.